What up, everybody? Hope everybody's enjoying their week. Be sure to go to realitywrestling.com for future details. They're already advertising a preset card for the October 11th television taping. And it was quite the television taping, very historic television taping at the last one. So you never really quite know what's going to happen at Reality Wrestling. But again, go get your details at realitywrestling.com or therowreporter.com. He will also probably have a preview of the upcoming show, so be on the lookout for that. You can also, if you go there, you'll check out the link to most of my episodes, at least the ones pertaining to reality wrestling superstars or those within staff and management and whatnot. So be sure to check that out. But again, October 11th is the next reality wrestling television taping. Very much looking forward to that. Kind of seeing what shakes out since the last TV taping. Also, if you're in the Houston area, Saturday late night or early Sunday morning, depending on your perspective, Reality Wrestling airs on the Cube. And in case you missed those, you can check it on Reality Wrestling on their YouTube page. They usually release them the following Wednesday for those who aren't in the Houston area. But again, probably go to realitywrestling.com for more information. Real quick, I've got a couple of interviews lined up. Very much looking forward to them. A few I've had to potentially reschedule, and as soon as I get more information on those, I will pass that on to you. But I know that I will be talking to the man behind Doomsday Wrestling, Gregory Vallet. Otherwise known as Tex Lone Star. Hopefully I'm not giving too much away, but I am going to be speaking to Greg about Doomsday Wrestling. Very much looking forward to that. More about like writing process, the creative process, character development, whatnot. We've had other conversations when I was doing Behind the Curtain, so always fun to sit down with him and really enjoy what he does with Doomsday Wrestling. And then I'm going to be talking to an old friend of mine, a guy who's like a brother, who's wanting to be my younger brother at times. He used to want to call himself Crash Pad DeMarco, but he's kind of branched out and done his thing and really kind of taken the indie world by storm. I'm talking about Steve Orino, good friend of mine. We're going to talk hopefully this weekend. But before those two guests, the next video will actually, it's very near and dear to my heart. You see, I will be at Wizard World, their convention in Austin, Texas next weekend. I want to say October 2nd through the 4th, I believe, or yeah, I think those are the exact dates, but you can go to Wizard World and find out. But my girlfriend will actually have a booth. She does stained glass. She's been doing it for a couple of years. She was an avid wrestling fan before she met me, so we're going to talk about that, and now her newfound love for the NXT product. But we're going to talk about, her viewing habits and who she liked early on. I mean, spoiler alert, it used to be The Rock. That was her favorite wrestler, I'm sure, in some capacity. He still is, even though she likes to humor me and tell me that I'm her favorite wrestler, and why not? I mean, I'm everyone's. Anyway, but that should be fun. I'm very much looking forward to that. We've had plenty of conversations, and I really wanted to get her on the show at some point, because she's got a different perspective. Not only is she a fan of wrestling, she is eager to maybe even potentially train in it, but she also dates me, and she's got a very interesting story with the stained glass, and I'm really kind of, we're going to showcase some of her stuff. I'm kind of really looking forward to that. I know that's going to be, we're going to film that fairly quickly because I want to release that next week before we go to Austin. So if you're in the Austin area that weekend of Wizard World and you're going to be there, feel free to stop by the High Puddin' Creations booth. That's where she will be. I mean, plenty of stuff, not just like this, but, if you're a comic book fan, she does a lot of, custom work, and she's down to do custom work, so go check out her Facebook page at High Puddin' Creations. Like it if you haven't. You can see some of the artwork that she'll have. But again, very talented, and I'm not just saying that because she's my girlfriend. I'm also saying that because she is very talented. I really love this piece. It's Buddy DeMarco, or might be DeMarco correct. No, we're not going to go. But that was kind of the inspiration for the DeMarco is my homeboy t-shirts to some degree. That that picture right there. Anyway, but that's next time. Let's talk about this time. You know, this guy I've known for a little while. I knew when he was a referee and he was at WOW. And then, you know, he would later become a full-time wrestler, and he definitely does like to drop the hammer, as he says. He's also known as the name that entertains. I'm talking about Jasper Davis. Jasper's a former reality wrestling heavyweight champion. He's won gold other places as well, and we do talk about quite a bit. We talk about interesting stuff, you know, getting heat for things that you say, getting heat and not realizing you get heat or why you get heat. We talk about him being 21 and being thrust into a wartime scenario. He served our country very proudly. I have immense respect for him. And then we talk about the wrestling industry and his thoughts on it, and his views on some of the stuff that he's done, from winning the Reality Wrestling Heavyweight Championship to feuding with not only Gustavo Mendoza but Team International, and just kind of his, you know, latest stuff as far as vying for the television title, being in that tournament. I'd filmed this around the same time that I filmed the brothers Lockhart and Houston Wrestling Radio's interviews, so it was around that same week. But again, due to kind of the scheduling, I wanted to hold off on putting this out. But this is video 214, and who better to put out than not only the guy who claims to be the name that entertains, I believe he is the name that entertains, but also the guy known as the Hammer, Jasper Davis. So sit back, relax, and enjoy my conversation with Jasper Davis. Until the next time, later. Mr. Davis.
Go.
So, you were telling me before we started shooting that you actually were not a wrestling fan growing up. Is that true?
That's true.
Okay. Yeah, the only reason you watch is for The Rock.
Yeah.
So you have something in common with my girlfriend. I think that's the only reason I think that's the only reason she still watches, even though he's not there. So yeah, so you just didn't grow up being a fan of it at all, or what? I mean,
well, I was doing martial arts and football, and in that, I talk trash and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yep, never wrestling.
No. And what was it about The Rock that you were like, all right, I don't like wrestling, but I will watch this guy?
Well, it was just basically like in football and martial arts. Like, I talk shit and kick people's ass. And,
okay.
He talk shit and he kick people's ass. And,
Yeah.
It was funny.
Yeah. So when did you decide you wanted to give wrestling a try?
I had just got my black belt, and I was getting ready to deploy to Iraq. And I was like, I might just die over there.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, yeah,
true.
Let's try wrestling out before I die.
All right. And how long had you been in the service before you deployed?
About 3 years.
Okay.
Joined those, 3 years.
And so prior, at that point, you hadn't deployed. You'd been serving, wanted to join wrestling, and then you deployed.
Yeah, I actually joined the 11th grade year of my high school year.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I joined. I went to basic during the 11th grade summer, so everyone was playing around and playing grab ass, and I was blowing up shit and shooting shit this summer.
Nice.
And then I came back, finished my senior year, and then I went to my job training.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, way back in the deal, when book school first opened on Commerce, I was still in high school. I was a lifeguard, and I remember I went in the guard shack, and I dialed, and it was Stevie Ray that picked up.
Okay.
Being a wrestling fan at that point, I was like, I want to talk to Stevie Ray. There's a book, but I didn't say it, of course.
Yeah.
And I was just like, how much the rest of the school? And he told me, and I was like, oh, and I was like, well, I'll call you back. Never. Sucker. And I hung up on Stevie Ray.
Oh my God. Have you told him this story?
No.
Oh my God, it's so going to be told. I'm going to just share this one little...
Edit that part out.
Oh my God. No, oh wow, I did not know that. Okay. So how long were you in Iraq?
I want to say about 8 months. It seemed like it took forever to get there and forever to get back over here. We did a little bit at Fort Bliss in El Paso, and then on my 21st birthday, I landed in Kuwait.
Wow! Like, so on your actual 21st birthday, I think on my 21st birthday, I was on a ship going, what have I done with my life? Why? What brought me here? I need to get out as soon as humanly possible. Yeah, I didn't like the shit, but yeah, just being at war, you were. Man, I have the utmost respect for you. I mean, I have the utmost respect for anyone who serves, not just because I serve, but because, I mean, you know, patriotism and whatnot. But man, the 21st birthday to be at war, like, oh man. Well, let's get a little lighter. Were many guys wrestling fan? Like, did you tell many of the people that you were serving with that, hey, about, you know, when I get out of here, I'm gonna continue my wrestling training? Were there many guys who did it? Because when I was in it, I mean, the Monday Night Wars were like in the thick of it, so we all watched it. And then there were guys who were like, oh man, when I get out, I'm going to try wrestling school. And up until that point, I might have wanted to try it, but I was like, nah, there's no way. And then I'd see some of these guys in the Navy, they're not as in shape as like Marines or Army or whatnot. And I'd be like, well, if that fat fuck's going to do it, then I can do it. I'm in way better shape than him. But, so did many guys know that you...
I had to miss a few formations and drills and stuff to make wrestling shows. So yeah, a lot of people did know.
Oh, okay.
And I got a little grief about it, you know, but it was cool. Like,
yeah.
They figured I'd be rapping or selling drugs or something. So
they're like, oh, wrestling,
cool, you know?
Not too bad, not too bad. So you served for 4 years. I mean, after
8 years.
8 years. Mm-hmm. Wow. And how? Wow. So how was Iraq at that point when you touched down? 21st birthday.
It was Kuwait, but
Kuwait,
yeah. When we finally got to Iraq, it was fucking hot. Can I say the F word?
Yeah. Yeah, no worries. You think I'm cutting any of this out?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
But yeah, it was hot, but you know, it was alright.
Alright.
Yeah. It was OIF5, so a lot of the crazy stuff had died down, but it was still a lot of crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
So, you know, got in a few firefights, had a few explosions take place around us, so yeah, it was pretty cool. I guess.
So once you got, once you're done, you finish serving, or once you come back from Iraq and all that, did you pick up wrestling training right after that?
No, I actually picked up, like I said, I thought I was going to die at 21.
Yeah.
So I actually picked up wrestling training in 2008.
Okay.
And I really pushed myself. I started at Tugs. Ruiz. And I really pushed myself because I was like, I need to have a match. I need to have a title before I get blown up in Iraq. And I just kept saying that.
Yeah.
And so 2008, I was pushing it, man.
Mm-hmm.
And training. And when like 7 to 8 months, got the Cruiserweight Championship. Then a couple of months after that, I got the NWA Southwest Junior Heavyweight Championship.
Okay.
And I left.
You were like but you had, I think I'd done some of WOW's shows when they were WOW. I think you were just transitioning. I think were you a ref at that
I was
point?
a referee.
And then was that just paying your dues type of thing, or?
It was more of a paying my dues and ring awareness.
Okay.
Yeah, they wanted us to be in there and do that, and you know, see how we felt in front of a crowd. You know, at that time it was a crowd of 50. But
no, yeah. They weren't drawing quite the numbers that they draw now. So you were with them for how long?
I was with before I left.
Yeah.
Before I left, I want to say a whole year and a half maybe. Before I left.
And you won. What titles did you win?
I won the before I left. I won the Cruiserweight title for a while.
Yeah.
And then I won the NWA Southwest Junior.
Oh, so when they transitioned from...
No. When NWA Southwest was the guy and everyone's affiliate to Southwest.
Oh, when Ken Taylor was running it, and he kind of started that mini resurgence, which is what brought me to WOW, because he was like, oh, well, they're going to brand, they're going to be part of NWA Southwest. You just work with them. And I'm like, so you don't have a building? No. I've got all these other little companies. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll go wherever you need me to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so then NWA Southwest, and then you left for?
Yeah, I left. I ended up losing to Scam 13. You ever hear that little lucha guy?
I have heard of him.
Yeah, I ended up losing to him. Then I left.
And you did you go to books at that point, or did you?
before I left, I was sneaking and going to books. It was kind of frowned upon. I think that and another deal that took place. Everyone that trains at Tugs knows about it. Well, that used to train at Tugs knows about it. But there was a thing to where like I just got fed up with being a ref. Like I was going to other places and they were giving me matches, but at WOW it was like, you're a referee, boy. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh man!
I was like, oh shit. All right. And then so I started sneaking and going to books.
Yeah.
You know, that and worked the system a little bit.
Yeah.
It was about 7 months in. I had a tryout from WWE.
Ah.
And so once they got wind of that one, they were like, oh, let's get the guy on the show.
Yeah.
And I won the belt, and like, it was awesome. Yeah.
So you went to books for a bit, but then you ended up going back to NWA, like when they became NWA Houston?
No, I was just doing a little training at books before I left.
Okay.
And, I got on a show, I tagged with Davidson.
Okay.
And we got annihilated by Cyrus. Remember Cyrus?
No, I was privy to one of the Cyrus, not run-ins, the walk-in, and then he would just destroy you. Yeah, I think I wrestled Nemesis, and we collided heads, and then next thing I know, the big guy in a hockey mask shows up, and he proceeds to...
Yeah, me and Ryan tag teamed against him, and we got
Oh! Ouch! 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 Well, you've come a long way since then.
Yeah.
Okay, so, but you went to NWA Houston for a brief period. I mean, you were still working with Buck and whatnot, but you went there.
Yeah, it was still WOW at the time, and they were slowly transitioning. Ken Taylor was real strong at that point. I left Iraq, and while I was in Iraq, I was still talking to him, and you know, he asked me to cut promos when I was in Iraq to keep me relevant, and he would post them and give me that support, and I get back and start wrestling for him some more, and then a big lawsuit happened.
Oh wow!
Yeah, and the big lawsuit happened. He got kicked out.
Yeah.
And a few other promoters got kicked out.
Kind of the old regime. I think that's when like Tony Brooklyn and Bruce and they kind of. Yeah, I was. Again, Ken had always done right by me when I was with him when he did have a building, and really always treated me well. You know, pay all that. So when he approached me about rejoining them, I was okay. You know, I'd heard bad things about Ken, but Ken, I'd always been kind of with everybody in rumors. I'm always like, well, let me see how the guy treats me. And Ken was always kind of straight up with me. So when he was like, no, go ahead, and then there was some miscommunication, a little bit of heat, which I've never quite understood. I had heat with Chaz for putting over Book School. Someone did a Q&A on my YouTube channel. At that point, I'm getting a lot of hits and getting a lot of notice because I'm one of the only wrestlers actually putting out videos. So decided to do a Q&A, and they asked me, well, you know, if you were to go to any school, which school would you go to? And I was like, you know, at the time I'm working for TASW, I just really started working for WOW, and I was working for Book. So I was like, you know, if you're in the Texas area, I would say Booker T's. He's got 6 rings. He's got a full gym. I said, plus it's Booker T. I said, well, you know, guy's on top at that point. You know, he's relatively on top at that point. And I felt like, well, if you're gonna want to learn, you need to learn from someone who's been to the top and still kind of relevant, because he can hopefully get a name in and whatnot. Anyway, I was supposed to feud with Faith for months. That's what I got from Ken, and I was like, oh, that's cool, all right. And
what's a feud?
I forgot you're not as smartened up. Anyway, you still owe Stevie Ray an apology. No. So anyway, I was supposed to feud with Faith back and forth for the Texas Heavyweight title at the time. That was the story I was given from Ken, and then it was kind of changed on the fly. Like I showed up to WOW, and they're like, I can put it over Faith, and they're like, we'll talk to you later about potential bookings, and then like a few months later was like, finally Chaz returned an email and was like, well, you know, we can't really.
You hurt my feelings.
Yeah, we can't really showcase you if you're going to put over other companies. And I'm like, I put over all companies. Because I was like, man, your show, they're all kind of the same at that point. There's, no one's better or worse. I just happen to like Book School a little bit better. It's not like it had air conditioning. I mean, the Commerce place was hot and whatnot.
Yeah.
So after, but when you were at NWA Houston for a little bit prior to the exclusivity thing, prior to Book going, let's we get the message, and you were doing some stuff, but I mean you were kind of frustrated too at the same time. I mean, what was going on there? Because I mean, again, you were kind of like a homegrown guy for a while, for the most part. I mean, that's where you got your start. That's where you got, the initial kind of education into it. Then you branched off, did other things, trained at Books for a little bit. But really, you were kind of a WoW product for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
But what was frustrating about the time prior to?
It was, I'd say, it was a thing of I felt like I never really got that top spot that I felt like I deserved. And like the top spot at the time, it was being given to out of town guys.
Yeah.
And which is fine, it's not all about Jasper. But at the same time, it is all about the people.
Yeah, yeah.
And if the people aren't buying into these guys and only the promoter is,
yeah.
I was like, go on,
Yeah.
And so that frustrated me a lot. I ended up taking something that they just threw at me. It was me and King Carson at the time. He went by, and they kind of just threw us together. And a couple of people couldn't make bookings and all that, and so they threw us together, and we ended up still in the show for like a year.
Okay.
Like a year.
Yeah.
Like it started out as a climb up to the belt, and then ended up after the belt was gone, we were still at it.
Okay.
And like people were coming to see that. They didn't care about the title, the heavyweight title, the Pokemon title, the Booker's My Friend title. They didn't care about nothing. It was Houston Carson and Jasper Davis like almost a year, and so that one went over. And they ended up sticking me with Houston's former tag team partner, and they pushed Houston to the North American title. And I was like, hey, I just won this year-long feud. Where's my North American title?
Yeah, where's your comeuppance? Yeah.
And it was one of those things like, oh, we got you.
No.
You're gonna wrestle a broom next month, and then the month after that, you're gonna wrestle that mop. And I'm like, what? And so that's when the frustration really started to build. And it was just nuts, man. It was because like everyone else that was there were guys that I thought deserved it, and the people thought that they deserved it.
Yeah.
But like, it was, I found myself in it to where it was like I was working hard for it,
Yeah.
And like you're supposed to work hard for it, but like you're not supposed to work hard for it. Like in a sense of you're supposed to be given that spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If you deserve it.
Yeah.
You're not supposed to have to work with what you're given to do something. Like yeah and no. Like you shouldn't do that. Like that shouldn't be the story of your wrestling career in your hometown for like months and months and months. You're gonna get those matches to where it's just kind of like, okay, you know. But like time and time again, getting those matches, like I started to get fucking frustrated. And so I started to. I had a good tag team run with David Duperon.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun. And but other than that, it was just like, it was like, fuck, man. You know what? Screw this. I'm gonna do what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna have fun here.
Yeah.
If I can't get what I'm trying to get here, I'm gonna have fun, and I'm gonna have the fans have fun with me.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna make some extra money outside of wrestling. And so that's where the whole NWA of the NWA thing came.
Well, before that, I remember. I think it was like one of your first real promos at Booker's, and I remember me and Kevin and you. We were trying to get you to tell your life story and such. I remember like you having a hard time, and I mean those could be tricky. Those can be tricky. And I remember talking to you like probably the show right after that. And I remember I would see stuff on YouTube that you would put out, the name that entertains, and funny stuff, man. Like, it was really entertaining. I mean, you were living up to the name. I mean, I would watch them. It was about the only thing in NWA Houston I would really watch, because you were one of the few guys like posting stuff. I mean, I think at that point they weren't really posting things. You know, they weren't posting matches. They weren't, I don't think Sign Guy was doing his stuff. You were doing your own, like, you know, you had kind of free reign to say whatever you wanted within those, because there were stuff you were doing to hype up your matches. And I asked you about it, and you told me that at one point they just took the mic away from you. And I wanted you to talk about that, because I found it weird, because speaking of Carson, when I was doing Behind the Curtain, and we talked about this right before, our job would be, part of it was like, well, we want who the real people are, and then we want your characters. We want both, and Jay would do this great job of cutting it up. And I'd have Ken and or Carson and Barbie on numerous episodes, because they were just so entertaining. But they said they got heat from certain people because they were exposed in the business. And I'm like, well, the business is kind of exposed. And I was like, don't worry about it. We'll keep you guys in character. No big deal. And we moved forward with it. But then I heard, you know, the troubles you were having. Like, so explain to me what happened. Because honestly, man, like I remember prior to us sitting down for that promo, me telling Kevin, like, man, we give this guy the microphone. He's gonna. I've seen this guy, and I didn't have any examples, but I'm like, let's just get him there. And it just felt like, especially that night, like you were just in your shell. And so I wanted to know why, because again, I remember watching other stuff, and I'm a big promo guy. I like guys who can really cut good promos. And at that point, whether it was just coming off the top of your head, you were writing it down, you practiced it, whatever. I don't know if you had done a number of takes or just one take. They were entertaining stuff. So I was like, man, that's hard. That's hard for guys just to take that initiative to just want to cut promos on their own. Like, I've always been a big proponent of that. Although on the flip side, I'm like, well, it should be the company's promotions deal to facilitate that. Like, they should be filming stuff and putting it out, as opposed to just having talent do that, or not having them do that, but talent feeling like, well, I want you to come to the show, so I'm going to hype it up for you. But so what happened with the?
Man, it was more in my. It was right before I started to get irritated. It was more of my.
So was this the last one?
Yeah, it was in my. I was still in my eager state to show that, like, you know, yeah, this guy was cool, you know, 100 years ago in the business.
Yeah.
You know, in today's time, I'm the cool guy.
Yeah.
I'll show him up.
Yeah.
And so, you know, they weren't doing anything with me, and I was like, I'll call out the top guy. And so I called out the top guy, I clowned him, and it got to, I shot him.
Really?
And from there, you know, they were like, hey, we're doing this and we're doing that with him right now. And, you know, you can't do that. And I was like, why can't I do that? I was like, it's entertainment, man.
Yeah.
I'm the name that entertains. That's the top guy. Who doesn't want the top guy?
Yeah.
What's wrong?
Yeah.
You know? I was like, is it because the people that you're sticking in with, no one gives a shit?
Mm.
And now here's this guy right here that people see and have a talent behind him.
Yeah.
Behind him. They give a shit about that, and so that's a no-no, Jasper.
Yeah.
And so I was like, huh, all right. And so after that, like, I really just left promos alone after that. I really, like, kind of half-assed them, and then there was, and then all of a sudden I started to get a little bit motivated behind it.
Yeah.
And then my motivation behind it was, you know, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
That's the spot.
Yeah.
But, you know, I want to be there, you know, pointing at the TV, and I was like, well, let me worry about that, and let me use my irritation and my frustration with what's going on to get me to be on that point again. And so that's where that one is. As far as the, like, with the whole thing there, I was still worried about that, and it was, you know, not the hammer. You know, I haven't used the hammer in ages.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of one of those backpedaling things to go back and be like, the name that entertains, rewind.
Yeah.
the hammer and blah blah blah. It's hammer time and stuff like that. And so like stumbling over at that point in time, you know, me being, you know, almost lynched.
Yeah, well, that's what, like, so was it the office that had, like, pulled you aside, was like, don't do it, or was it the guy that pulled you aside? Or was it a combination?
I think it was a combination.
Okay.
I think I heard phone calls were made to some of my friends, and they were like, yo, talk to him, and blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? And then, you know, everyone else loved it, except that guy. And then it was just like, I don't know, I imagine he talked to someone, and they were like, you know, no, Jasper, no. And, you know, I spoke to him, and I guess after a while he was kind of cool with it, and he was like, hey, man, the office told me one thing, and he told me something different. I'm not a bitch. Showtime Scott Summers. So Showtime, he
because I found it odd, because when you know, and I was going to wait to see if you said anything, if you mentioned it by name, because I've always respected Showtime, especially once, you know, I remember when he was trying to be Shawn Michaels. I mean, we all went through. I mean, when he first started, he was night and day. When he first started, I mean, this was nearly 15 years ago. Yeah, he had a completely different character.
He had hair.
Yeah, he had hair. He wore like the red. I mean, and honestly, if he ever wanted to approach me about it, you know, I've already asked him to be on the show. We could talk about it. But no, yeah. So he'd come out in these red pleather pants and so on and so forth, and you know, just trying to find his way. And then when he became the underground icon character, and he kind of, the hair was gone, and I think he was like, I can't be that guy. I've got to be. This is more me. And I was always impressed by the promos. The promos were, but he shot on, quote unquote, shot on everyone. Like no one was safe because he was trying to get noticed. So I always found it odd that guy would have had a problem. Like I always look at promos, and I've always tried it, and I've always tried to be good about it because I know some people tend to get hurt. Like I know that I don't come out and talk about your family. I don't come out and talk about your kids.
I will.
Well, you probably will. So I will talk about your kids and your love of what? No. And I would have to warn some guys, you know, before I'd go out there, like, look, man, it's just a show. I'm just trying to build interest. Don't worry. And you can say whatever you want about me because I don't give a shit half the time. I mean, if you want to say to my face, I still really don't care. Because that's the name of the game. And I just found it odd when you told me, and you were like, yeah, and
I think he recognized it more for what I was trying to do.
Yeah.
And that's why I say when he cooled down, I actually spoke to him a little bit later, and he gave me a little pointers on it. He's like, build me up a little bit.
Okay.
Then do it.
Yeah.
And the way that works basically is, you know, the way I talk trash to him, I wish I still had it deleted. But the way
because I'm now interested in what was said.
I still remember. I think I still remember it. Somewhat from where. Yeah. But you know, it was like build him up, and it actually helped me out with promos. Is that build him up, then tear him down.
Yeah, because you never want to. That was always the trick I learned. Like you always want to put the guy over like he's maybe not quite on your level, but you always want people to assume that whoever he is.
Yeah.
If you completely destroy what their character is, but don't do any building up, then
I beat a nobody.
Yeah, you beat a nobody, or you lose to a nobody. Yeah.
Yep.
Which I'm sure is what Scott probably kind of.
That's probably more of where he went with it.
Yeah.
Just looking at some of the promos, like that's what he did. He did it. He talked him up, and then he's like, "Boom, bitch, get down."
Yeah, and then it was like, "But you're not Scott," you know. And then it was, yeah. I mean, his were always so many different levels with him, man. And I mean, anytime I've seen him since, I'm like, you know, putting him over huge because, man, yeah, his promo work. But yeah, like I said, I was really surprised, and it's a shame that The Office, if they were it's one thing if you have a plan and you're like, well, we have, you know, having been a booker, yeah, I get that. Oh, well, we have a plan for this guy. You're not in those plans.
It was interesting how it went though, because I put it out there. Of course, he got upset behind it, but other promoters in other cities wanted to book it. Because I guess that at that point
they should have booked it. I would have been like, if for no other reason than, you know, because they could have just been like, all right, you get your match with him, but he's just going to totally railroad through you. Then it's like, okay, well then, but at least I got. There was probably money to be made.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand why.
At that point in time, no one talked to him that way.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, oh, he's got summers.
No, because people were concerned he was going to snap, or he was, his character was.
I like your animals. You know, can I pay your tab at the bar? You know, I was like, what? They sound like they want to, you know, go on a date with him. I sound like I want to smash them. So what's wrong with mine versus theirs, you know?
But it was a good, good education as far as once Scott calmed down. But so the office just said, well, it's just not it's not in the plans right now.
Not right now.
Okay, but eventually was that, or was it you just keep doing your thing and we'll get back to you?
It was never that.
Okay.
There were still kind of talks about it.
Okay.
And we later on came back to it. And. I actually did another promo, more of the favorite format.
Yeah.
And that one went over pretty well still.
Okay.
And he did his, and we were getting ready to set up for the match, and I think he went to Japan. He either got injured or he went to Japan.
Yeah, because he had been battling some injuries.
Yeah.
So let's talk about reality wrestling. You are the favorite. You do get picked on quite a bit from Book. I think it's all in good fun.
Yeah.
And I think Ryan Davidson's happy that you're in the locker room because he's no longer the guy who gets the brunt of it.
Yeah.
But it's good.
Keep me around.
There's so many little things like our lists, so on and so forth. What's it been like? I mean, for you, you've had some pretty good success in reality wrestling.
Yeah.
I mean, you were the heavyweight champion. Tell me about that, like winning the title, for that company. What was that like for you?
It was really good. At that time, it was still seesawing NWA and books. Not trying to decide where to go. I was at that point. I had cut it down to only those two, and I'd only work NWA Houston, and I'd only work Booker T's. And so it was those two. And around the time when I was getting a little frustrated, before I started looking at things different. Hell, I got the belt for Booker T's promotion for ROW Reality Wrestling. And I was like, maybe I'm not doing that bad.
Yeah.
And so it kind of made me feel a little bit better here and feed me a little bit more here to do things good too.
Yeah.
And so it was really an amazing experience to do it. The only thing that really bothered me about it, to this day, I still like, damn, I was hurt. Like for most of my title reign, I was hurt.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I think my first title defense, I got hurt.
What happened?
I thought I tore my ankle off, but I just.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Like it was like 2 minutes in. It was like you guys are going, then all of a sudden, what's wrong with Jasper? And then you were noticed. I mean, you got through it.
Yeah.
And I remember Booker as soon as you got to the back check. I mean, we all checked on you. And it's funny because I had Gustavo on my show and he talks about I think the first or second match that you faced each other, he got hurt. He was hurt, hurt his sciatic nerve. So he was it was new to him. I've dealt with that for years. So I was trying to being in the back with him no, you want to do this, you want to try this. And then he was supposed to wrestle a match later on in the night and he couldn't because he was physically unable to.
Yeah.
You feuded with Team International for quite a while. It's seemingly from the time you got the title, Gustavo had you in his sights, and then he he beats you for the title, but the story doesn't end. You guys, I mean, you were pretty much a one-man army against this group. Talk to me about that. Like, I mean, for a few months there, it was almost every match they're running in on you. They're trying to lay you out. You seemingly are getting the upper hand here and there. But what was that like for you?
That was a lot like life, man. And like it was one of those things I was a part of that really just kind of reminded me of where I come from. And it was like it's so much different things against you.
Yeah.
And just as you get on top of that, and just as you succeed with that, here's something else, and here's something else.
Yeah.
And are you gonna fold, or are you gonna keep rising to the top on everything that's stacked on you? And that's more of what that one reminded me of and meant to me. It was a crazy little battle.
Yeah.
I kicked their ass, they kicked my ass.
Yeah.
Numbers kept growing. Raina kept winking at me. Stop it.
Just trying to take you off your game.
Yeah.
Now at the pay-per-view, you wrestled. He's known as Jinder Mahal, Raj Singh.
Don't do that.
Don't. How was that for you?
It was a good experience on a lot of different levels. I got a chance to finally get in the ring with someone, former WWE, recent.
Yeah, I mean, he was like virtually had just been released, and then we got the announcement he was going to be there, and then you got to face him. So I know that was a pretty high profile match, and like his first match since leaving. But yeah,
it was kind of cool just to see where I stood against someone that's on the big stages, or that just got off of the big stages.
Yeah.
And I was happy with it. There was a lot of different things to learn from it, but overall, I was like, cool. Yeah.
And then recently, you were in the television tournament and lost to Ryan Davidson of all people. But pretty good. I mean, in a losing effort, man. In a losing effort, not too horribly bad. So, what's the future for Jasper Davis? Will you stay the Hammer? Will it become the name that entertains? Because I heard you promo. You brought both in. And don't get me wrong, I like the name that entertains. I think it suits you. I know Book likes the Hammer, but I mean, you can incorporate both, or.
Well, I mean, like I am the name that entertains. You know what I mean? So it's just kind of like Jasper the Hammer Davis. Oh, the name that entertains. Or the name that entertains. Jasper the Hammer Davis. So I'm gonna incorporate a lot of ass whoopings. I'll incorporate the name that entertains too, unless I get the no from the man. Yeah. But man, as far as future plans go, I really consider myself the best in reality wrestling. And so I'm going to be at the top of reality wrestling. I'm going to be the television champion, the tag team champion. I'm going to be the world heavyweight champion. I'm going to be the Diamonds Division's champion's boyfriend. Hey, baby.
That goes to all the ladies. Almost. Yeah. Now you weren't a fan of the product before you got into wrestling. Are you a fan of it now? Do you watch it, or is it still?
I think it's one of those things to where I watch it to be aware, but in some sorts I am a fan, but I think guys that are like diehard fans of it, it does two different things for them. It either makes them the marks, and it enables them to reach their full potential because they're too concerned about being this guy or that guy. You know what I mean? And there was another one to where there's guys like Robert Gilmore and what's his name? Chris Short, Rob Davison, whatever. Those guys are diehard fans of it, and but you'll never see it. You'll never say, oh, here comes Ryan Davidson with the people's elbow. You'll never see, oh, Rockstar Robbie, Stone Cold Stunner. And so just in that light that it can handle people two different ways, I tend to try to stay away from it. And I'll peek at it every once in a while to make sure I'm not doing some cool stuff and it's already on TV.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, maybe it's not that cool. You know. So I do it I stay away from it to be kind of cool.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, it's grown on me a little bit.
What do you do outside of wrestling? I mean, outside of wrestling and training and being at the school and all that, what else do you do?
I'm actually managing a bar. I just opened my own security company.
Oh, wow.
From time to time, I go and talk to the kids at different schools and organizations and stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Gotta get back to the kids.
Cool,
Gotta
man.
get back to the kids.
Well, I appreciate you being on my show.
Mm-hmm.
Very painless. Thank you very much, sir.
Bye!
And I